and thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America. Our guest today has profiled two of the most intriguing Black women of our time. We're delighted to talk with celebrated film director Shola Lynch, creator of the Shirley Chisholm documentary, Chisholm 72, Unbought and Unbossed, and the Angela Davis documentary, Free Angela and All Political Prisoners. Shola is also curator of the Schomburg Library's Moving Image and Recorded Sound Department, and we're eager to hear all about that and everything. Shola, thanks so much.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
For being here today. You know, you're a true Renaissance woman. I'm like, I can't wait for the answer to this, because we start out by saying, place yourself in Black America. What was your early life like? And you were like the Renaissance child of America. You did everything.
You know, but growing up in the 70s, it was very free to be you and me. I in some senses, came to my Blackness later, but I consider myself American, Trinidadian, well, Tobagonian.
Yes,
please.
Tobago,
Exactly.
right.
And think of myself as a person who's part of the diaspora.
Well, and so the influences, because we know you as this, quote, celebrated film director, but your life started out, you were a child prodigy athletically. Talk to us about that.
You know, my parents were always encouraging us to like go out there and try new things, and I discovered track and got really good at it. I broke my first national record at the age of 14. And it was something that was just so satisfying, and it was literally...
It's running now, right? The 400, the 800?
The 800.
The 800, right?
And I ran the 800 in 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
0.1.
At 14?
At 14.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was a spectacular feeling to learn how to be a champion, and by that, learn how to lose and to win, and to set goals over time and to work towards achieving them. It was instrumental in everything I've done.
And you were prepping for the Olympics.
Yes, so right, I'm a failed Olympian,
Well,
but a Renaissance woman.
Right.
You know, you go down the path, and sometimes it takes you someplace else.
Right. But you had an injury then that kept you out of the Olympics. But then you went on to college, decided you wanted to be an artist.
Yeah.
So that was a whole new career. Talk to us about that.
Sure. Well, I ran track in college at the University of Texas. I was proud to be a Lady Longhorn, hook 'em, right?
Okay.
I was team captain. We won nationals. You know, it was the full experience, and I even ran for Foot Locker after college. But it was in college that I discovered my love of story and of history, and was really interested in finding myself in it, because the narrative I had of American history, Black women didn't enter really.
Didn't exist, really.
Exactly, and
Right.
Blackness was very negative. Terrible things happened to us, we endured, and protested peacefully. That's not exactly.
And never got
the full
angry, right?
story.
Never got angry about the whole
Never
thing.
got angry.
Right.
Never got angry, and never created change, and never had agency in our lives. And I suppose the very big picture, that's true, but that's not true with the narratives of people who lived. They were like, everyone was like you and me. The past is fundamental to understanding the future.
So you wanted to tell those stories.
Yeah, I was pissed that I didn't have a sense of myself and my legacy in the United States, other than in very negative terms. And so my idea was, you know, to bring people to reading, to bring people to libraries and the archives, that I would do installations. So I wanted to be a curator in a historical institution, and to tell our stories with vibrancy through multimedia installation.
And so you are.
And so, I know, decades later, right? And I wouldn't have had the chutzpah to call myself an artist. I would never have thought that I would be a filmmaker. These were things that I didn't feel I had access to.
Well, then when you decided to be a filmmaker, you started working, early in your career with Ken Burns. So now there's a place to learn how to do documentaries, right?
No, totally. And it's my love of history that got me there. So, you know, they were, a friend of mine that said, you know, this guy, Ken Burns, is looking for to hire some people to work on various
I remember when
projects.
they used to refer to him like that.
Yeah,
that guy. Oh,
that guy.
Some guy.
You know, he made documentaries for PBS, historical. Right. You should apply. And when I did, it was completely eye-opening to be able to take all of these artifacts, photos, papers, et cetera, film, and weave them together in storytelling. But the reason I got the job is because I knew how to research
Uh-huh.
and I annotated properly.
Uh-huh.
They were having a really hard time trying to find somebody who could take notes and annotate properly for the writer. And so the writer was like, hire her, hire her. So sometimes the smallest
The
task
smallest thing
is the
right.
most important.
I know I used to complain about an aunt of mine who insisted that every niece and nephew of hers learn how to type, and we were like, no, we'll never need it, of course.
Exactly.
Is essentially needed, right? But so working for Ken Burns, and that was the first one, the jazz
No,
documentary? What was the first one?
Sure. The first one was Frank Lloyd Wright, the American architect, and he was working, I think, with Lynn Novick and Peter Miller, and that team was really small. It was in New York. We all shared an office space, and I just got to be in the room. I mean, for every aspect of it. And it was an incredibly eye-opening experience. And then that translated into working on Jazz, which is a 10-part, 20-hour series.
Wow.
And by that
Talk about annotation.
Yes, right. And by that time, I was an associate producer.
Right.
And my job was to travel around the country finding photographs of Black life.
Wow.
Black and immigrant life, because really
Wow.
jazz is the story of Black and immigrant America.
Right, precisely. What great joy that must have been. Right?
Yes, I thought, oh my gosh, does it get any better than this? And I'm getting paid to do this work, right? So it was pretty spectacular.
You're a very enthusiastic filmmaker and researcher. So getting to your first own documentary, the Shirley Chisholm film, I want you to know that every time I watch it, I break down and cry. It is such a moving, sad, but in the end, encouraging kind of film. How did you get to Shirley Chisholm and to decide that this would be your first documentary?
Well, one of the things that happens when you work for other people is you get grumbly and you're young and you're like, I can do better. And I just told myself to shut up and challenged myself to direct a film. I had no idea what it would be. And I heard her birthday announced on NPR. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's still alive. Oh my gosh, she's still alive. And I had remembered from Paula Giddings, When and Where I Enter, that she was the first Black woman elected to Congress.
Right.
They probably announced that. No mention of her run for president on NPR
of course,
at that time.
right. Everybody ignored that, right?
They were embarrassed by it.
Right.
And so then I thought, oh my gosh, that's really the moment. If I can get her to talk about that, because it's spectacular. And it's a forgotten, it was a forgotten and overlooked point of history. And people were embarrassed by the fact that she ran and lost. And my notes in my Paula Giddings, like exclamation point, why would you do that? Oh, so embarrassing, right?
Right.
When I was in college.
Yes.
Right. And then I was a mature woman, an associate producer in my 20s. And so I thought, okay, this is really the story to tell.
Yeah, we have a clip. Let's take a look at that and we'll talk about it on the other side. I won't cry, I promise.
It's time for the body politic to truly represent America.
I was awestruck. Well, that was the first time that I thought about registering to vote.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
Who is this? She's running for what? I said, oh, she got to be crazy. I said, I got to meet her.
Spread the word to one another. It's the main thing you ain't heard.
For the first time in the history of this nation, a person of color and a woman at that is running for the highest office of this land.
This was a period when Black women were finding their voices in unprecedented ways. There's another kind of individualism and sense of liberation.
We cannot continue to take things as they are. When we see around us that government is not responsive to certain segments of the population.
There was a grassroots movement. People who had never participated in political thought and political ideas were now doing it.
She was willing to take on the white establishment on the issues of the Vietnam War, on Head Start. She was out there fighting on every single issue.
I didn't have many signs that indicated I was doing the right thing, really.
Frederick Douglass said something that she often quoted. Power concedes nothing. Without demands, without struggles. What was her motives? It was the struggle.
Whether you got 9% or 1% of the national vote, Shirley's candidacy said, I'm not demanding to get in, I'm asserting my right to be here, and I am in. That's powerful.
I have never, ever had that kind of impact on me, not as a woman, not as African American, not as a mother, not as an educator, but as a human being.
It is, you have to get a copy of this and watch it, because if you are a woman, you will understand. And if you're a black person, you understand. But Shirley was always the one who said she thought she was being held back by being a woman more than being a black person, because what, boys will be boys or men will be men, or
yeah, and it plays out in this story, you know, this kind of ranking of race and gender. And in that ranking, we're at the bottom of that as black women. And so it was not her turn to be the front person.
Oh my gosh. I remember Shirley Chisholm was one of the first people I interviewed as a reporter. And it was, you know, she was always so fiery. And the reaction to her was always, please be quiet. It's not your turn to speak about anything, much less becoming president of the United States.
Yes, and you know, in thinking about how to tell her story, I thought it was important for her to speak to what happened to her, but it was also really important to show that she has the breadth of emotions. She's not always the angry school marm, you know, which were the clips that were on the news, you know.
Right, precisely.
And that she was a full and complete person. And I was surprised, shame on me for being surprised, but she had a real political strategy for getting to the convention.
Right.
And it worked.
Right.
And it was about collecting delegate votes. And nobody bothered, not one reporter bothered to ask her political strategy. Not one.
I know, and just the night of that defeat, though, you know, of her sitting almost essentially alone, right? She was alone in that struggle, in that fight.
She was alone, but she also had all of the young people that were there to support her, who, like Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who went on to have really
Great
engaging careers in politics and social justice. So, you know, we can't erase that impact. So she didn't win the nomination, but she won in every other way.
In every other way.
Yeah. And she makes Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton possible.
I know, but there's this great quote: I ran for the presidency despite hopeless odds to demonstrate the sheer will and refusal to accept the status quo. The next time a woman runs, or a black, a Jew, or anyone from a group that the country is not ready to elect to its highest office, I believe that he or she will be taken seriously from the start. And certainly for he, that was true. But for she, it was not.
Yes, it's complicated, isn't it? And, you know, but I would like to say about the film that it came out before when we still thought it wasn't possible for a black person to be president in our lifetime.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
2004 at Sundance Film Festival, and then, you know, on POV, on PBS, and a Peabody. So,
right. Congratulations, of course. That's something, a Peabody. Another Shirley Chisholm quote: the emotional, sexual, and psychological stereotyping of females begins when the doctor says it's a girl. Now, talk about a girl. And the next documentary you did was Angela Davis, not any ordinary girl, but again, an exceptional person. How did you decide to do Angela next?
You know, Shirley runs for president, well, I'm not Shirley, Mrs. C, in 1972. And so in researching the context of that, that's the end of the Angela Davis trial. And I just became intrigued by her, and I couldn't understand how this essentially deeply intellectual, nerdy graduate student became an international political icon. And it just called to me, the story. And this was around 9/11, so we were talking about who's a terrorist, who's not a terrorist.
Right.
She's labeled as a terrorist by then President Nixon. And so I really wanted to dig deeper into the story to see what I could find.
Yeah, and did a wonderful job. This was another story that I covered as a news reporter, interviewing her sister in the hunt for it. And my sister was wearing a huge afro at the time and would get stopped. You know, are you Angela Davis? So what a time. Let's take a look at a clip from this movie.
Philosophy professor Angela Davis admitted that she is a member of the Communist Party.
Who put her on the top 10? Everybody had a file on her.
Her first lecture drew 2,000 students.
Angela's education is now being put into practice.
Angela Davis purchased 4 guns.
There is a conspiracy in the land. It's a conspiracy to wipe out the black community as a whole.
Well, I think she's trying to overthrow our system of government, and she admits that.
The actions of the FBI in apprehending Angela Davis, a rather remarkable story.
A U.S. District Court judge set bail at $100,000.
She knows that the movement to free all political prisoners is growing every day.
This entire incident was a deliberate provocation.
They wanted to break me. They wanted me to respond.
There was enormous feeling for Angela everywhere in the world.
We know that she is innocent.
We want to tell that Pharaoh in Washington to let Angela Davis go free.
What they're doing to her is an exaggerated form of what happens every day to black people in this country.
What does it mean to be a criminal in this society?
They are not going to kill her. They're not going to imprison her. We're going to free her. We're going to win her freedom.
Such a compelling film. I was telling you I saw it at the Sackler Center when Angela was interviewed by Gloria Steinem, a conversation that they had. And we saw there the wonderful film and all that she went through, and the fact that she's still working for the same issues that she was working for back then. Freeing political prisoners, supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. What did you find in the early film of that Angela Davis and the woman that you saw later?
Sure. I mean, the story really is about her becoming. We think of her as Angela Davis, this fully formed social justice activist, but these are the events in her life that kind of catapult her into having this international platform, which she takes very seriously, and is kind of contrary to her personality as a scholar. She'd much rather be, with her head in the books, and so it's uncomfortable for her to be out there, but she feels there's a responsibility to do that work. What I find amazing is the consistency of her relationship to that political work over time. And there's a moment in the film towards the end where she says, this was not something we just did on weekends or we just did as a phase. This is the way we were living our lives. And that is precisely what she did. She took political activism and made it the way she lives her life. And so she can count the victories, and there are victories along the way, but at the same time, she's always looking to the future to see what's next.
Right.
It's not like, oh, that's done, check off the list. Right. I can retire. She's still traveling all over the world, speaking out on issues that she believes in. And there's really something to that.
There's really something. She is from Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm from that neck of the woods as well. And one of the recent clips that I saw of her was she was talking about the girls who had been killed in the church in Birmingham. And then she was saying, people don't understand violence. They don't know what happened to us. They didn't know that our parents had to police our neighborhood, for months after that for fear that something else would happen. So when people talk to me about violence, let's really talk about what it means.
Yes, and this is kind of invisible, it is invisible history. And so what's really important as we look back to history and why history is critical is to highlight the truth, our truth. Not only were there patrols, but the Black community was armed, armed to protect itself. And so this is a really important point.
Exactly. Now you've done these 2 fabulous documentaries, and now I'm trying to research your next project, and I see The Outlaw, and now you tell me that's no longer the name of it, but it's so intriguing, and will be your first feature film. So tell us what you can about that and what you were looking for.
Sure. Well, surprise,
Yes.
It's about a woman and a
black
woman.
All right, keeping things going, right?
Things going. People always ask me, don't you feel pigeonholed? And I feel absolutely not. There's so many stories, and right now nobody's really telling those stories. And to shift the camera where we're the main character is incredible. So in Free Angela, I worked with the very talented cinematographer Bradford Young, and we created images, and I just loved it. And there are stories where the images don't exist, and this is how I get to the outlaw. This is a woman that we know.
Yes.
And we think we know.
We think we know.
But we don't really. And now I get to unveil her story. The film is not called that, but it is my first narrative, and I've figured out the story and the treatment, and I look forward to sharing it in the future.
Well, please come back and talk when it debuts and wins all of those awards. Remember us. But
these passion projects take some time.
Yes.
And so I do the work for hire. I work at the archive, which I love.
Let's talk about that, because I do want to talk, if we have time, to talk about, because when people say, "Oh, make a documentary," it's nothing. The amount of money and time and effort that goes into it is extraordinary. But do tell us about the Schomburg, because you are opening up the archives, what you have there, the public can come in and see.
Sure. Well, we're the public library. We're always open. I am the curator for the Moving Image and Recorded Sound Division, which essentially means I run the film and audio archive with an incredible staff that we're building. And it's literally, the Schomburg has collected the voices of Black America over time, and on film, the movements. So we recently took in the James Baldwin collection.
Right.
But to hear James Baldwin's voice and to know how he moves when you're reading his books adds dimension and humanity and realness. We also just took in the Sonny Rollins collection. And it's spectacular.
Well, you all are really doing well, because in the past those kinds of things would be going elsewhere, but now the Schomburg has become the center. People understand that it needs to go to the Schomburg.
Yes, because we're the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, and we're accessible to the public. All it takes is a library card.
You mean that if I want to see something of James Baldwin,
yes,
I can use my library card?
Yes, you
come
make
up
an
to
appointment.
Shola and say.
Well, that would be the manuscripts division. We have manuscripts, photos and prints, art and artifacts, and the film and audio material is there. And what I'm very interested in as a curator is building out our collection of independent films and filmmakers and making sure that we have a place to go to see the work that we've created. We're not aware of how rich our history is often. So when you think, oh, we haven't done that before as a person of color or a Black person, no. Do your research. Do your research. And start at the Schomburg.
And I like that you have now, we had Kevin Young on, who is running the Schomburg, but that a lot of the programs that you do there are being recorded and then included in the archives, which is also essentially.
Yes, that was something that was started in the 80s, and we have an enormous collection of material, public programs over the years. And so part of the work that and that's in the Moving Image division.
Your division.
And part of the work that we're doing is tremendous amounts of grant writing to be able to process and digitize and make available that material, because it's there. And we need to unhide it. So.
Now, one of the things that I noticed is that you were inducted into the Academy. You're going to vote on the Oscars. You went into that class where, after all of the hoopla, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, because this is Hollywood. It's exactly what you're talking about. Filmmaking, who gets to make the films, who gets to judge the films.
Oh yeah, no, I am so thrilled to be an Academy member. It's been an honor, and so last year was the first year that I got to vote, and I voted. I voted true to myself,
Right.
And it is something. You get to engage with the whole community. And it's important to show up and to show your face and be engaged and speak your truth in all environments. And so those of us that have been inducted recently really feel that that's part of what we do, show up.
Yeah, I understand that it's a folding in every house, however they introduce people into the voting. So where do you stand now? Is it enough? Are there enough? I don't want to say minor. Is there enough diversity to make a difference yet?
There's still work to be done, but there are those of us that are there, and we're trying to bring other people along, and that's really where we are with it.
So we have a minute or so to talk about the enormity of doing any of these things that require such huge infusions of cash. That this is one of the barriers to people of color, for instance, or women making movies. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. It's a very entrepreneurial pursuit. I mean, I think that my my career in athletics really set me up. It's the paradigm, right? You have a goal, you have a long-term goal, you have short-term goals that reach you, and you're constantly calibrating along the way. And if you let every disappointment go, oh, I'm gonna quit, I can't do it, right? You might have a moment of that, right? But you don't stay in that place, and you move on, and you figure out how to reach your goal. So it is engaging. And
but you have to raise millions of dollars, right?
Yes, you do have to raise money, right? But if you want to do it, that's what you have to do.
And so are you finding that there is diversity in people being able to garner that amount of money, women, and is that improving?
Well, you know, I think if you want to be on the forefront of any career, it involves all of that. I mean, even at the Schomburg, getting the moving image and record sound division added to the renovation required being very much an advocate and helping raise money and making it happen. So filmmaking is the same. You have to, I mean, nobody's going to come to me and say, you make this, here's all the money. That doesn't happen. So if I want to be a filmmaker, right, I'm in the tradition of Oscar Michaud, right? I make my opportunities. Ava DuVernay also made her opportunities. Nobody said, you, fabulous person, be a filmmaker. She started making films and people caught on.
I'm putting my money on you, Shola, you know, to get the money to make your movie. But we always finish by asking our guests to finish the statement, the power of the strength of Black America. What's that for you?
It's looking back to look forward. Know who you are so you can know where you're going. I'm an Afrofuturist, right? Which includes the past. Reclaim our people. Bring them along.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You're fantastic. I can't wait for you to next. And I'm coming over to the Schomburg to take a look at your films and listen to that music that you've got over there. Yeah. Thanks for your committed work in this area. You're fantastic. Be sure to see both of those films. But if you don't cry in the Shirley Chisholm film, you're not a human being. Thank you to Shola so much, Shola Lynch. And thanks to you out there for watching us. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and we'll see you the next time.